everyone. Welcome to That's Entertainment, the weekly entertainment show where we look at all the interesting news from last week and some of this week. We've got some fantastic news to share. Gruvi's been accepted for Stadium, which is a Horizon 2020 backed initiative to encourage innovation within the entertainment sector. So anyone who is running a cinema out there, do reach out. We've got a grant for some R&D money to experiment with working in the cookieless world, which will be coming up in January next year. Yes, all e-commerce as we know it is about to end. There'll be a new future where there'll be new routines and new technologies, and we've got an R&D budget. So if you're interested in marketing and you're interested in upgrading your systems, give us a call. We're looking for a series of partners to form part of our cohort for Stadium. And if you're a UK-based cinema, we are also applying to the UK Innovation Fund currently, which we are handing in, I think, tomorrow or the day after, for a similar grant to work with UK chains as well. Now into the news. Well, let's start with some good stuff. It looks like the summer blockbuster season has finally arrived. The latest film in Universal's Fast and Furious franchise generated more than 162 million in ticket sales this weekend, as it opens just in 8 overseas markets. According to Variety, it's an encouraging start for the summer movie season, particularly because revenues weren't far off from what a Fast movie would have generated at the box office in the non-pandemic times. The success of F9 so far in China is certainly significant, as many Hollywood-produced films have failed to score big numbers there since the pandemic started. In China alone, the film has taken $105 million by Saturday, and Deadline picked up on another piece of encouraging news from the film's success there. On IMAX screens in China, F9 bowed 5.5 million on Friday, which is 9.4% of the total gross from just 1% of the screens. The result is the biggest IMAX opening day in the Fast franchise, as well as the biggest opening day for any Universal title. It is also the 5th highest opening day for any film in China. There was also good news from the UK, where 80% of cinemas reopened a week ago last Monday. The first 7 days back generated well over £10 million in the box office, and £7 million worth of tickets sold over the weekend. The number one film was Peter Rabbit 2, which opened up to £3.8 million, a very respectable figure, especially when you take into account the continued social distancing and audience capacity measures all UK cinemas are currently operating under. The UK's number 2 film was the multiple Oscar winner Nomadland, an indie production hoovered up by Disney as part of their acquisition of Fox. The film's £875,000 box office may well be an indicator of the things to come under the new normal. Nomadland achieved that theatrical success despite having been available for Disney Plus subscribers to view at home since April 30th. The big story of last week was the announcement of the upcoming $43 billion merger between WarnerMedia and Discovery. The deal will apparently create a single company big enough to take on Netflix, bringing together such players as Warner Brothers, HBO Max, Discovery Plus, TLC, TNT, TBS, and the Food Network. According to a report in Deadline, WarnerMedia owner AT&T would receive $43 billion in a combination of cash and debt securities, and WarnerMedia's retention of a certain debt and AT&T shareholders would receive stock representing 71% of the new company. Discovery shareholders would own 29%. It will combine WarnerMedia's storied library of popular and valuable IP with Discovery's global footprint and trove of local language content and deep regional expertise across more than 200 countries and territories. The new company will be able to invest in more original content for its streaming services, enhance the programming options across its global linear pay TV and broadcast channels, and offer more innovative video experiences and consumer choices. Well, this is a massive merger, and I think, we are in the times of the bundle. Services and deals are not going to stop here. I think, there's a lot up in the air right now as to how the other studios are going to react to this news. But I think very exciting for the future of this new brand. Although the impact of the deal on the future release strategy for Warner Brothers movies has not been revealed yet, it seems unlikely that the studio will change its previously announced plans to once again start releasing films exclusively in cinemas in 2022. In fact, Deadline reported the first film to go back to that release pattern looks likely to be Denis Villeneuve's Dune, scheduled for release in September. The filmmakers have made no secret of their opposition to the idea of the film being released simultaneously on HBO Max, partly because such a digital debut could apparently undermine the film subsequently launching a new blockbuster franchise. What remains unclear is the future of current WarnerMedia CEO Jason Kilar, the man at the head of the successful launch of HBO Max, and the person responsible for the controversial decision to help drive up HBO Max subscriptions by ensuring Warner Brothers movies are available on streaming platforms the same day they debut in cinemas. Screen Daily reported that Kilar has retained a team of lawyers to negotiate his exit, presumably to ensure that he keeps the $48 million stock options he was awarded earlier this year, currently scheduled to be paid out over the next 4 years. According to a report in Variety, the strategic move that made such a splash last December, when WarnerMedia, at Kilar's direction, opted for simultaneous releases in theaters and on HBO Max for Warner Brothers' 2021 slate, is seen as a major misstep because it was shaping up to cost the studio over $1 billion in lost box office revenue. Talent profit participation payments and in-high license fees paid for the movies from HBO Max. Unless the pace of HBO Max subscribers additions pick up significantly in the coming months, the high cost of the movie content for the streamer will be hard to justify. Well, that basically means that there's an opinion running around the industry that Jason Kilar shot the gun a little bit too early in this whole sequence. I don't know. I think, the pandemic response was, at that point, very unclear as to when we would be getting a third or fourth wave. So I feel the studio was doing the wise thing by hedging its bets and at least then being able to put some kind of content out into the markets or whichever markets were open. I don't hold this against Warner. I think they were just doing the best with what they had. And they saw an opportunity and they went for it. But it's interesting now that things seem to be calming down. I'd be very interested to see what kind of pressure is being brought on Kilar to maybe step down now. We shall see in upcoming news installments, I'm sure. This week also saw WarnerMedia reveal the ad-supported version of HBO Max, which will cost $9.99 per month when it launches in the US in June, and $5 less than the current ad-free alternative. Deadline summed up the main differences between the two price points. Subscribers won't get access to day-and-date movies from Warner Brothers in 2021, though the films will eventually wind up on the platform. And HBO series like the current drama 𝗪𝗵𝘁𝗲𝗏 won't carry ads, though Max originals like The Flight Attendant, along with most of the remaining 13,000 hours of programming, will. Variety also picked up on one very important thing about the current HBO Max offering. At $15 a month for the ad-free version, HBO Max is at the high end of the streaming market, and this is seen as a limiting factor. As of the end of the first quarter, HBO Max and HBO had 44.2 million subscribers, which is ahead of the internal projections for 2025 levels. Even though the numbers are less than half of the reach of Disney+, WarnerMedia and AT&T have pointed to robust revenue per user figures, saying they make more money from a smaller base. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe in the comments section below. Remember, we post to both YouTube and to LinkedIn. Do feel free to drop me a line. Let me know what you want to hear more about in the show, or if you have any questions. And check out our Oxford Brookes interview. It was very good. 45 minutes. Nick and the team did an excellent job in putting that together. Until next time, goodbye.